Wow, I mean, yeah, I can see that, and I know dealing with the FDA is a nightmare because I did a paper. Me and a physician did a paper. Oh gosh, 15. Actually, it was before Jacob was born. My gosh, it was about 17 years ago or so. 17, 18 years ago, we did a paper on colloidal silver and HIV. And I almost lost my my medical lab technician certification, and the doctor she got what's called in the medical community censured. Means you shut up or you're losing everything. So in the chat room, we've got to move along here now. In the chat room, is a link. It's ustream.tv/channel/the Medic Shack. That is where we have our video on tonight's show. And I know some folks on a 32 or dial-up connection probably will not be able to see this, but it will be published a link of the recording where you can download it at your leisure. So let folks go to that link there. Hopefully, Kat and I tried it out today, and everything worked. We were going to use YouTube, but YouTube changed the rules of a thing. What are you doing, Jacob? Oh, okay. Jacob is coming after me with a scalpel, and it's like, what the hell are you doing? YouTube changed the rules a little bit now. Before you can do a live broadcast to people that don't have Gmail accounts, you have to have 100 subscribers. It's like, screw that. There's other ways around this. So Ustream, I've used it before in my other show, and it works pretty good. What are you doing?
I'm making an uneven cut. You made it too nice of a cut.
Oh gosh, my son is.
You made it too nice of a cut. I have to make an uneven cut for realism.
But tonight, what we got here, we got our demonstrator here, which is a chicken breast. Boned-in chicken breast, not a boneless one, and it's got skin on it. I use chicken a lot. I use chicken, and my other thing I like to do when I teach suturing, I first start folks up on chicken for one major reason, is because the skin is very fragile. And you learn how to sew tight enough to hold a wound together, but not so tight enough that you tear the sutures through. Tonight we're not going to be doing any suturing tonight. Tonight is just going to be how to not have my son spill my betadine solution on a couple of $1,000s worth of equipment. No, seriously, Jacob's a great in fact, he's one of my instructors. Okay, what I got here in this basin right here, this is betadine solution. This is regular old-fashioned. I'll put it up here. Oh, wrong way. Betadine. I'll pick it up at the vet store, whatever. Okay, Jake. And you want to add it to a liter of water, a quart of water, and you want it to be the color of a good, strong iced tea. And and that's your primary thing. And what we're going to do on this is betadine is easy to get hold of. Everybody can get to it. But what happens when you use the last of it and you can't get no more? Colloidal silver does work. The problem with colloidal silver is, like betadine, there's a certain group of people who are allergic to it. Jacob is one of these people that's probably alert. I mean, he's never had high doses of it, but I know Jacob and Ryan is actually worse. They have metal allergies. If you see them, they have to wear either surgical stainless steel or gold or platinum, because if they wear, like on their blue jeans, a lot of times on their blue jeans, they get Ryan now is worse, they get these blisters on their stomach right at the level of the snap on the blue jean. So that's one thing you got to watch out for. And the same thing with betadine, iodine. A lot of folks have iodine allergies. You can take it as a rule of thumb. If somebody's allergic to seafood, i.e. shrimp, lobster, crab, shellfish, they're going to be allergic to iodine. So what happens? You're stuck. You got nothing to wash out with, whatever. All else fails, hey, plain water. But that's what Kat is a specialist in. The betadine, it's really good stuff. It works really well. But like I said, there's people who are allergic to it. Copper rash, that's it. And so what else can you use? And Kat and I talked about this on the phone the other day. And what was it you talked? Root. One of the roots. Uh, Oregon grapefruit, yes. You can make a solution out of that. That's okay, I can move this. I can just move this.
Oh, it's already there. It's there. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we got chaparral, and we got golden seal. Drain sponges.
Huh?
Drain sponge.
Do you want me to just grab a normal piece of gauze?
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
I know. I'm just.
Right. Okay. So now on wounds, you know, one of the things you want to do, you know, as you can see under the camera here, you know, wear gloves. One, you know, the gloves serve I mean, I even skin animals now wearing gloves just because of some of the new, not new, but the more prevalent bugs that we got here in New Mexico. What's the one? You know, tularemia, you know, rabbit fever, you know, then there's a few others around here. Bubonic plague, really popular out here in New Mexico. But when you're going through your wound, you know, you want to go through and you want to investigate. You want to make sure there's nothing sharp in it. If you have lidocaine, you want to infiltrate the wound with it. But a lot of folks won't have lidocaine available, and we talked about another thing that works as well is Benadryl. You know, Benadryl infiltrated into the wound will work pretty good to you know, to numb it up a little bit, but realistically, in the woods, you're not going to have that. But this is actually, this is the bulb syringe that we have at work. I need to get the There we go. I got to be able to see the video too, so I can do my laptop just timed out. And what you want to do, you want to put the person's arm like that, and you need to flush it. And you just want to flush it, flush it, flush it, flush it, and you want to use that whole liter of fluid on it. I'm not going to go to that whole amount on this thing here, but you want to make sure that you got every little bit through it. The problem with betadine, though, betadine is going to make it hurt. It's iodine, it burns. You want to go through and you want to get all of that dirt, everything out of there. It's that is so important. I never, ever advocate suturing in the field. Suturing in the field is just asking for an infection. What you want to do here is on this, after you irrigate it, you want to investigate the wound. You want to look in there and you want to get your gauze and you want to blot it out. But you don't want to take your gauze and you don't want to stick it in there and drag it through. One, it's going to hurt. Your victim is going to, yeah,
most likely.
right. Or they might slap you. But also, too, when you do that, you will damage more than you will. You'll damage the tissues a lot more.
You can see here when you did that, it ripped it.
You see, we got a little bit of rip right there where I did that. So you blot gently, and you see the adipose, the fat that we pulled off. You don't want to do that either. Just dig in there, and then at the outside of the wound. And now at this point in time, right, nitrile don't store very well. We keep latex. I use gloves quite a bit. Nitrile gloves, they just do not hold up like latex gloves do. But try to find latex, not examination gloves anymore. It's almost impossible. Another good glove is vinyls. The clear vinyl ones you see in food service. Those ones store actually fairly well. But now, at this point in time here, we're going to go back to our original thing we talked about a lot of shows ago, is direct pressure. Stop. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. 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 And the question in the chat room was, do you wipe and dab the wound like you do now? You don't want to wipe, because if you wipe one, you take a chance of, if you didn't get everything out, of driving it further into the tissues where you can't see it. And also, too, when you wipe, you're going to put a lot of pressure. You can actually cause more damage. You just want to, dab it down like that. Investigate it. Look down deep inside that thing there. You have to get your fingers in there, and and it hurts. But there's the thing about it, though, it actually stops.
Your lidocaine comes in.
Well, if you have lidocaine. If you don't got a turkey baster, but you got, just a syringe. This is a syringe right here with an IV catheter on it. You can get in there, and these are actually really good for high pressure. You can get down deep into that with this IV catheter on the end of it. It's nice, it's flexible, it's not going to cause any more damage. You can get in there and just really irrigate the heck out of it. Like I said, you always want to keep it on its side, keep the wound on its side the best you can, and just always you keep looking in there and making sure. Now, realistically, a wound would not be that deep. You'd have bigger things to worry about than on this wound that Jacob has modified for us a little bit. Next thing you want to do is, after you get the bleeding controlled, direct pressure on it. Thanks, sir. Direct pressure on the wound, so important until the bleeding is stopped. Now, what I use here, what we're gonna go through here is with Steri-Strips. We're gonna just pinch it together, and I might have to move the microphones around here to be able to do this. So you know what? I'll just have Jacob do it, since he's just as good at it as I am. We talked about a thing that's in our med kits. It comes in two fashions. It's called Benzoin, and you can pick it up at feed stores. It's Benzoin. Here's what it looks like. This is a tincture of benzoin. This is a spray. This is the greatest stuff ever on the planet. Or you can sometimes find it. You can find it in herb stores too, but it'll be a fat. What it is, it's a Mediterranean type of tree sap. It's pine sap. For us old timers, remember that pine tar used to make the best bandages on the planet. I mean, you pack a wound with pine tar and all that, you're sealing it. It's a natural astringent, natural antibiotic, and did a very good job. Benzoin just takes off from there, except it's in a medical grade container. And if you buy this thing at the this one's expired, by the way. This can here expired 2012, and so they're going to throw it away. But hey, it doesn't go bad. It's not like tetracycline or doxycycline that really goes bad, and it doesn't lose its effectiveness because it's pine tar. It's not going to, it's not going to go bad. Another place you can find this stuff at is places that sell supplies for boxers. Sorry, right? You can buy this stuff because. And athletes they use it a lot to tape. Like if you ever boxed before, you can spray the stuff on. Then you wrap the glove. Then you wrap your hands to get so you don't break your hands when you put your boxing gloves on. But Jake, give that a little spray, about half a second on each side of the wound, and you let it dry. You don't want to get too much inside the wound. Now, what we're going to do here, that's good. What we're going to do here is. If you got colloidal silver, you'll put a little bit in there, but the betadine though will take the piece of that. What we're doing here is just closing something up long enough to get them back. Get them out of the field and get them back in where they can be properly taken care of. Because a wound like that would be at least 4 layers of suture. And like I said, you do not want to suture in the field. That's going to take a little bit of while to dry. Never, ever, ever blow on a wound to dry something. You would not believe how many young doctors and young nurses and young technicians I see do that. You'll spray something on a wound like that, like this benzoin, you'll spray it on there and they'll go and it's like, okay, do it all over again.
Okay, so we have an open wound, a cavity straight into the body, and you're going to blow your germs, your bacteria, straight into the wound.
Actually, right, super glue would work on something like this. Yep, it is good. Super glue would work on something like this. However, you would not be able to close the muscle layer with the super glue. That requires suturing. You can close the skin and the first few layers of the muscle with it, but you can't get that deep with super glue because it just will not work. It won't cure, because for super glue to cure, it requires oxygen. And you get it down that deep in the wound, there's not going to be any oxygen once you start closing it up, and so it'll just stay in a semi-liquid state. And it's just not good for you. See, now check. See, it's still just a little bit there. It's starting to get a little tacky now. And then what you're going to do now, your Steri-Strips. On the Steris, you can see they come 3 to a package, 6 to a package. And what you want to do is just start at one end of it. Never start. You see a lot of folks, they start in the middle. And you can do that, but what happens is when you start in the middle, is you're going to do that, then you're going to get wrinkles. You're going to get bulges in your line. And it's the same thing when you suture. If it allows stuff to get in. So start at one end, move one way or the other. So Jacob, go ahead and close this. We're not going to cut these Steri-Strips because we didn't bring any scissors in here for this. But you just pinch the wound closed a little bit and put the Steri-Strip on. And watch Jacob have a lot of fun with this because it's not quite all the way dry. And let's bring them together. I don't think that benzoin didn't dry. It wasn't all the way dry yet.
It isn't. It's slipping.
That's okay. But you can see the gist of it there. You can. It's up to you whether you want to overlap your Steris or not. I generally don't. I like to leave about a quarter's thickness of a quarter between the steries. Two reasons. One, it allows the wound to drain. Because you know, on a field wound, you don't want to close it. You want to leave it so that it can drain. Draining is so important. Next, it makes it easier to take them off, because once these things dry onto that skin, they are there, and it takes about a week for them to come off. And yes, you know, you're putting this on as a temporary measure to get somebody back to the rear area, or back to a secure area, or back to a safe area where somebody better qualified can sew them up. So what, you know, there's a way to take this stuff off, and again, you use the same stuff that you flush the wound with. You can use a solution of betadine, or you can use a tincture, a watery tincture of Oregon grapefruit, golden seal, whatever. I've seen this in Bosnia. I've seen them clean. I've seen some I don't want to say freedom fighters, but you know, the people fighting the Civil War. I've seen them use garlic in a pack wound. Now that burns. Oh my, that must burn. But right now, yeah, ham hocks. Yeah, I use a pig's feet. I use that a lot. Now, see, I teach people the actual way of suture on chicken, just because it's so fragile. I mean, you rip that skin so easily, and it really teaches you how to be gentle with it. Now, once they get that down, then we go up to ham hocks, because that is a very, especially when it's warm, you get that ham hock warm to about room temperature. You would not believe how tough that skin is to push a needle through. It is unbelievable. I mean, how many times have we stuck ourselves at fish hooks, stuck ourselves at sewing needles, etc., and it just goes right through your skin like there's nobody's business. Now you take that same needle and you put it onto what we call a needle driver and try to push it through the skin. It's like, yeah, not smoke. Can't use smoke raw. You would not believe how difficult that is to deal with. We're not going to go so much over how to dress this wound, because everybody is good on that. Only thing I'd recommend is that you put a Telfar pad down and then, you know, a bulky bandage on top of it. Reason why is, you know, just to give some cushion to protect it. One was screaming a pitch that only dogs could hear, packing, oh gosh. Right, Billy Goat, South, that's right. I worked battalion aide for a long time. In fact, I was a battalion senior medic for my unit when I finally got retired out of the service. But you know, I mean, it's so simple. This is very, very simple, but a lot of folks forget these are the very basics that you have to do. Now, if you didn't have any of this stuff and you're in a bad way and it's not that far back, I would just I just put a dress on it and get them back out. But say, you know, it's going to be a day or so. Say you're out hunting. You're out deer hunting, whatever, and Billy Joe, you know, is gutting the deer and all that, and ends up damn near gutting himself. You know, well, you're not going to have, you know, you're too far away to your truck. You're a day out or 2 days out in the woods somewhere like that. This is where this stuff like this comes in handy. You know,
the betadine is making the edges of the band-aids come up.
Well, yeah, because it's sitting in the band-aids. It's wicking it up. See, it's sitting in the band-aid and the fluid down there. But now, if in that type of environment, yeah, that's when you want to go through and irrigate that wound. You know, and irrigate it and clean it out, because the more you do pre-op, the better chance that person has of recovering completely. If you got colloidal silver, give them a double or triple dose of it. You know, orally, get that, you know, get something in them to try to fight off the possibility of infection. Excuse me, my nose is getting stopped up again. I've been fighting this cold off here, and this one that I sent to Eddie via cat that he's been kind of mad at me about for the last few days. But like I was saying, it's so important that prep work. It's like anything, like when you're cooking. You know, if your prep work isn't good, your meal's not going to come out that great. If you don't prep for an exam, you're probably going to fail it. And it's the same thing with prepping a wound. If you do this prep work prior to them getting back, that person has a better chance of healing completely with no infection, less chance of losing that limb, or just getting bad. Yes, you can use colloidal silver in a wound, right? Problem with colloidal silver, if you've ever done it, you can ask Cope this. Cope will verify this many times over. It burns. It burns like nobody's business needs to burn. He had a really bad infection he picked up on the top of his foot. Well, Cope got the brilliant idea sitting over here in my RV in the backyard. He was staying over here. We're teaching a class out here in Edgewood. He comes into the house there and he grabs a 5cc syringe and a 22 gauge needle, and he walks back out to his to the RV back there, and you hear this howl that would curl the hair off any wolf on this planet. And I go back out there, and he is hopping up and down on foot. And he's going to get him. He might not. He'll probably. I'll hear about this a little bit later. But colloidal silver burns. It does burn a lot, but it does work very, very well. Except again, in that very small, less than 1% of the population that is allergic to it. And again, a good unit medic. And by unit medic, I mean if you're a militia group, you want a unit medic. If you're a neighborhood association, you want somebody to be your medic. Needs to know everybody's. Yeah, Cope's a big old boy too. He is. You want people to know the background of your neighbors, of your family, of your unit. So you need to know your allergies. Like I tell folks every time, go donate blood if you can, because they'll give you a card and it will have your blood. That's invaluable to your medic to have that information. It's like talking to your doctor. Don't be shy, because if you're trusting this person, your unit medic, you need to trust them enough with your medical history, because it will affect their decisions on what they're going to do to treat you. You're having fun with that, aren't you?
No, the steri strips are popping.
Well, yeah, because he didn't let the benzoin dry quite enough. A little bit too.
Yeah, and also, like you said, the steri strips are in the liquid in the betadine.
And it's acting like a wick. How does one determine if someone is allergic to silver? It's pretty easy, actually, especially on women. Hey, how come you not wearing that silver earrings I got you? You'll see an inflammation, like copper. You know, like people with copper allergies. You'll see that that rash develop. You'll see an inflammation around wherever the silver is touching and wherever the metal's touching. And most people, you know, most times it's just a rash, or it might be a little bit of discomfort. But when it's taken internally or it's injected into a wound like that, and it gets into the bloodstream, it could be pretty bad. Billy goes right. Do the skin test. Not possibly. It could be the nickel in the jewelry too. But like Jacob can't wear anything made out of pure silver. One, it turns his hand. Well, it does a lot of people. It turns in blue right where the silver is, and he gets a horrible rash from it. But you know, just need to ask, and you can do skin test on it. You know, say, hey, put this piece of silver on you. We lost sound. Check the. Oh, we lost. Okay. Restart that. Okay, Tim, give me a second. Okay, hang on, Jake. Okay, what you need to do here is leave that, close. Okay, open up output. Right hand side of the IDGC screen. Give me a mouse.
Sorry, I don't.
Right here.
Oh, that's left hand. Okay.
All right. Now go into Shoutcast. First, try to connect. Just hit connect. See what happens. Okay, it's going to fail. Okay. Let me trade spots with you. Well, actually, go to Shoutcast Administrator. Okay,
no.
log out of everybody. Okay, log back into them. Okay, now start at one end and kick. Now move quickly and hit connect. Okay. Stop. Okay, we're back now. Sorry about that. Okay, yeah, we for some reason our
We lost number 2.
that's okay. Number 2 is bounce. I mean, it's not bounce. That's HRN. It's
Okay.
HRN. But we got these. Sorry about that again, folks. Looks like one of our the servers just went bye bye on us. And hell, I still got 12 minutes left here to rant. Well, yeah, we didn't. So maybe we can get by on the commercial break. Actually, go ahead and load up the first 3 commercials there on the left hand. We got some on the left monitor. No, you don't need to do that, Jacob. There's somebody preloaded in the left monitor.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and get these out of the way here while we make sure nothing else goes bad. Okay. You weren't recording, were you?
Nope. I didn't even realize I wasn't.
That's okay. Make sure that we're recording. Okay, we're gonna have to splice these 2 together.
Yeah. Have sound.
Alright, what I want to do here is...
Okay. We're back
Here we're talking like that.
on the That's weird that it just died.
Yeah, after we're sitting there doing all that talking like that. You're in manual. No, you're not.
I just changed it.
Okay. Do one more, then we'll get back in. He didn't have the microphone buttons turned on.
Go back to manual.
Just do that one more. Need to find out why that crashed.
Okay.
Okay, stop it after that one.
Yeah, I put it back on manual.
Okay. Okay. All right, Jacob, we're back.
We are back.
Okay, sorry about that. For some reason, the server just decided to go, bye-bye, you're done. And took a second to get logged back in all 3 servers here because we broadcast on 3264 and then my own personal one for my own personal network. Okay, wow, where do we leave off there here? Oh, silver allergies. Silver is, you know, it's a great drug. It is a fantastic drug. But like I said, your unit medic, your neighborhood medic, your person, whoever is taking care of you needs to know your allergies. And the way you can do that is to, just be honest. Just be honest with them and let them know what's going on.
Remember, patient, medic, doctor, whoever you want to go with, confidentiality.
You know,
Trust them.
right. And most medics are very, very forthright and very, very honest about things. Okay, now back to this wound right here. You see now the steri strips are sticking tight, and probably also too this thing is cold too. This chicken breast is freaking cold. Oh, it's okay. I'm not gonna be touching it no more. You're gonna be the one who gets to clean this mess up here. Hello, Ryan. My youngest son just walked into the studio here. When you get this thing back in there, you want to watch it for infection and all that, and and tell your medic exactly if you still got your cell phone cameras, if they're even still working in something like this, take a picture of it. A picture's worth 1,000 words on trying to describe how bad a wound is. Next week, though, we'll go into doing this. Same thing again, the flushing, because you can't get too much of flushing. And then we'll go into closing with glue. And also, we'll go into closing with suture. We'll start doing some closing with sutures. It's okay. My dog just showed up in here.
Everyone's showing up.
Everyone's showing up to the studio right now. My dog just showed up. My sons are just showing up in here. But cleanliness as best you can. And again, here's where I advocate. People hear me talking about it again. Your pressure cooker. And I need to find that cat. Where was that link that Bert put on Facebook on that solar-powered distillation device? That was... Let's see. There's Michelle Obama in a bikini. Bert does some weird stuff. There's a really, really good link that she put up that is, I can't find it. Dang it. I'll find the link and I'll put it up on the MediCheck webpage. She showed me a link of a solar-powered distillation device that was just a cat's meow. And it is, you want to see the dog? Well, too late. She just wandered back off into the house. And, but like I said, cleanliness. Get it as clean as you can. Your pressure cooker is a lifesaver in this thing here. For one, making your water sterile, making your water clean, because you don't want to be shooting river water down in somebody's wounds like this, even if you do add the betadine into it. Well, you're not going to get trained right with this either, because it's hard to do it by video from 1,000 miles away, but we'll do our best shot on it there, Elderberry. Thank you. Right, when you get back, they're going to have to break that thing open. They're going to have to clean it out again and again, and then your medic, whoever will suture back up. So, like I said, next week.
Then you'll clean the outside again.
Yeah, the dog is better than chicken breast, but she wandered off, so we can't. I can't disconnect the camera from the little lights we got on here. So, like I said, next week we'll go into more wound care and closing on that. We'll go dealing with the glues. And what are you doing? And we'll go in also with a little bit of the on suturing. We'll start suturing, because suturing is not something you can teach in an hour. It's an interesting thing, and if you can sew, you're a little bit ahead of the game. If you're a fly fisherman, you're way ahead of the game, because a lot of the same knots that you use for tying flies are the same knots that we do on this. So we're going to close out just a little bit early tonight, since we're putting... Oh, you did? Okay, great. Jacob, get Mr. Jefferson loaded up for me.
Got it.
All right, sorry about that. Dead air again here. That uncomfortable silence.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, Jacob, no singing. Exactly. Suturing is an art. It takes a long time and a lot of practice. And, I mean, anybody can put in a few stitches and hold something together. But to make a wound look good and to seal it without causing ripples, wrinkles, or puckers in it, you don't want it to look like the lips of a carp when you close it. I used to have doctors that sew up pacemaker pockets like that, and I'd have to redo them.
You have to remember, the nicer suture job you do, the nicer the scar will be.
And also the nicer suture job is the less chance you have an infection. Because you got to remember, why I dislike suturing so much in the field is you're taking that needle, you're going in, through, and out again multiple times. You're poking more and more and more holes into that skin. Unless you do a what's called a mattress suture, which I'll show you how to do that one on the show next week. That is a fly fisherman and radiologist, dang right. So, when we'll go into that next week. Folks, again, thank you for spending your Sunday evening with us. And remember, pass it around. We have been talking, daylight savings time is over. We're back on standard time. 8 o'clock is good for
people in Arizona.
Well, no, Arizona is the same time we're on now.
Now we can figure.
See, that's how come Vince was on our morning show.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it a little bit, and 8 o'clock is good for me. It's actually pretty good for Kat. But I know for some folks on the East Coast, it is what's coming on 11 o'clock at night on the East Coast right now. And I know for some folks that might be a little bit too late. We can move I mean, I'd have to talk to Cope and to Bobby about it, but Sundays are fairly open. But, passing along, would it be better if we moved it an hour back to 7 o'clock Mountain, 6 Pacific? We've mentioned it a couple of times, but I want to hear what folks have to say about that. Throw us an email at our email at the Medic Shack. Let me type it in here. Or go to the website and we have a contact. Oh, it's the wrong system there. Let's try this one here.
We have a list where you can send us your best time.
Right. Well, there's a chat room on the Medic Shack page. There's a contact. You can send us email straight off the Medic Shack. There's the link for it there, folks. I know my producer is tapping his watch, which he hasn't reset yet. So again, folks, I want to thank you all for joining us and being with us. Kat, again, thank you for spending your Sunday night, especially being sick. So, Jacob, thanks again for doing a good job producing. Folks, we'll see everybody next week. All right, bye-bye. Okay. Alrighty. Well, let me go stop this one over here. And I'll have to edit the hell out of this one.